The vast emptiness of space is suddenly shattered as a fleet of enormous warships from the Galactic Empire arrives above a small, remote human colony. The ships, sleek and deadly, seem to blot out the stars as they descend into the atmosphere, their dark, menacing forms casting shadows over the innocent world below. These alien invaders, known across the galaxy for their advanced technology and ruthless efficiency, have come to impose their will once again. Their reputation precedes them. They are a force to be reckoned with, and they leave no room for resistance. On the surface of the colony, life continues as normal for its inhabitants, peaceful, unaware of the impending doom. Families go about their daily routines. Children play in the streets, their laughter echoing in the air, while the elderly sit in quiet conversation. But as the shadows of the alien fleet grow larger, the peaceful atmosphere begins to shift. The alarm sounds, low and menacing, alerting everyone to the nightmare that has arrived. The ground trembles as explosions rock the planet's surface, and the sky is filled with the shrill cries of the invaders' ships as they release their deadly cargo. Troops, tanks, and weapons that can obliterate entire cities in seconds. Amidst the chaos, a young child, no older than 8, is caught in the whirlwind of destruction. Their eyes are wide with fear, and their small hands tremble as they clutch a family portrait close to their chest. The child's world, a place of warmth and safety, is shattered in an instant. Around them, the sounds of terror fill the air. The screaming of parents, the violent clash of weapons, the pounding of alien boots on the ground as they storm through the colony, hunting down any sign of human life. The child runs, small feet pounding the ground, but the chaos is too much. The child is separated from their family, lost in the madness of war. The child's terror is palpable as they watch helplessly from behind a crumbled wall, their breath coming in quick, shallow gasps. Their eyes scan the horizon, searching for any sign of safety. But instead, they see the towering figures of alien soldiers, their cold eyes glowing beneath their helmets as they march toward the child's parents. There is nothing the child can do. As the soldiers grab the parents, dragging them away like ragdolls, the child clutches the family portrait even tighter, the only connection to the life they once knew. In that moment, it is the only thing that feels real, the only shred of hope left in a world that has turned dark and cruel. The camera lingers on the child's face, eyes wide with terror, tears streaming down their cheeks as they look up at the sky, now filled with the flames of the Empire's ships. A loud scream cuts through the air, followed by a flash of blinding light. The screen goes black, and the audience is left in stunned silence. The child, their innocence lost, has been taken. The camera lingers on the empty ground, the portrait still clutched in the child's tiny hands, now stained with blood. The silence is deafening. But the silence doesn't last long. The child's death, captured by a hidden camera on the planet, is broadcasted across the galaxy. The footage spreads like wildfire, igniting a storm of anger and sorrow across the universe. On Earth, millions of humans watch in horror as the child's final moments are played out before their eyes. The image of the child's terrified face, their eyes frozen in fear, their grip on the family portrait still tight, burns into the hearts of every human who sees it. The portrait, once a symbol of love and family, is now a symbol of loss, of the Empire's cruelty and the senseless destruction they have wrought. The broadcast cuts to Earth, showing crowds gathered in cities, staring up at screens, their faces filled with disbelief. Some are silent, stunned by the enormity of what has just been witnessed. Others shout, their voices rising in fury as the enormity of the Empire's brutality sinks in. The child's death, once a distant event on a faraway world, is now a personal tragedy for every human alive. The anger that fills the hearts of the Earthlings is palpable. It is a mix of grief, helplessness, and an overwhelming desire for revenge. The child, a symbol of innocence and purity, has been murdered by an empire that sees no value in human life. The rage that stirs in the hearts of the people is unlike anything the Empire has ever seen. The vast emptiness of space is suddenly shattered as a fleet of enormous warships from the Galactic Empire arrives above a small, remote human colony. The ships, sleek and deadly, seem to blot out the stars as they descend into the atmosphere, their dark, menacing forms casting shadows over the innocent world below. These alien invaders, known across the galaxy for their advanced technology and ruthless efficiency, have come to impose their will once again. Their reputation precedes them. They are a force to be reckoned with, and they leave no room for resistance. On the surface of the colony, life continues as normal for its inhabitants, peaceful, unaware of the impending doom. Families go about their daily routines. Children play in the streets, their laughter echoing in the air, while the elderly sit in quiet conversation. But as the shadows of the alien fleet grow larger, the peaceful atmosphere begins to shift. The alarm sounds, low and menacing, alerting everyone to the nightmare that has arrived. The ground trembles as explosions rock the planet's surface, and the sky is filled with the shrill cries of the invaders' ships as they release their deadly cargo. Troops, tanks, and weapons that can obliterate entire cities in seconds. Amidst the chaos, a young child, no older than 8, is caught in the whirlwind of destruction. Their eyes are wide with fear, and their small hands tremble as they clutch a family portrait close to their chest. The child's world, a place of warmth and safety, is shattered in an instant. Around them, the sounds of terror fill the air. The screaming of parents, the violent clash of weapons, the pounding of alien boots on the ground as they storm through the colony, hunting down any sign of human life. The child runs, small feet pounding the ground, but the chaos is too much. The child is separated from their family, lost in the madness of war. The child's terror is palpable as they watch helplessly from behind a crumbled wall, their breath coming in quick, shallow gasps. Their eyes scan the horizon, searching for any sign of safety. But instead, they see the towering figures of alien soldiers, their cold eyes glowing beneath their helmets as they march toward the child's parents. There is nothing the child can do. As the soldiers grab the parents, dragging them away like ragdolls, the child clutches the family portrait even tighter, the only connection to the life they once knew. In that moment, it is the only thing that feels real, the only shred of hope left in a world that has turned dark and cruel. The camera lingers on the child's face, eyes wide with terror, tears streaming down their cheeks as they look up at the sky, now filled with the flames of the Empire's ships. A loud scream cuts through the air, followed by a flash of blinding light. The screen goes black, and the audience is left in stunned silence. The child, their innocence lost, has been taken. The camera lingers on the empty ground, the portrait still clutched in the child's tiny hands, now stained with blood. The silence is deafening. But the silence doesn't last long. The child's death, captured by a hidden camera on the planet, is broadcasted across the galaxy. The footage spreads like wildfire, igniting a storm of anger and sorrow across the universe. On Earth, millions of humans watch in horror as the child's final moments are played out before their eyes. The image of the child's terrified face, their eyes frozen in fear, their grip on the family portrait still tight, burns into the hearts of every human who sees it. The portrait, once a symbol of love and family, is now a symbol of loss, of the Empire's cruelty, and the senseless destruction they have wrought. The broadcast cuts to Earth, showing crowds gathered in cities, staring up at screens, their faces filled with disbelief. Some are silent, stunned by the enormity of what has just been witnessed. Others shout, their voices rising in fury as the enormity of the Empire's brutality sinks in. The child's death, once a distant event on a faraway world, is now a personal tragedy for every human alive. The anger that fills the hearts of the Earthlings is palpable. It is a mix of grief, helplessness, and an overwhelming desire for revenge. The child, a symbol of innocence and purity, has been murdered by an empire that sees no value in human life. The rage that stirs in the hearts of the people is unlike anything the empire has ever seen. The fleet of warships that had once been a distant hope for humanity was now real. These ships, sleek and deadly, were equipped with cloaking devices that rendered them invisible to the Empire's advanced sensors. The Empire had never encountered such a weapon. The humans had learned to hide in plain sight, blending into the darkness of space like ghosts. Along with the cloaking devices, the ships were outfitted with AI-controlled fighters, machines that could think and act faster than any human pilot. These machines were cold, efficient, and deadly, and they would be humanity's first line of defense against the Empire's forces. The fleet, glowing faintly as they activated their cloaking systems, moved in perfect formation. They were invisible to the Empire's sensors, hidden in the vastness of space, but their presence was no less terrifying. The human warships glided silently toward the Empire's outer colonies, their engines humming softly as they sliced through the void. The contrast between the sleek, modern design of the human ships and the dark emptiness of space made them seem like silent predators, moving through the darkness, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. As the human fleet approached the Empire's territory, a sense of tension filled the air. The Empire's colonies, once thought to be safe from the reach of humanity, were now within striking distance. The silence was deafening, broken only by the soft hum of the human ships. The fleet moved steadily, each ship cloaked in near-perfect invisibility. But the closer they got, the more the tension built. They were about to do what had once seemed impossible. They were about to strike at the heart of the Galactic Empire. In the heart of the Empire, on one of their outer colonies, the alien leaders had no idea what was coming. They believed their superiority would protect them. They had advanced technology, vast fleets of warships, and an empire that spanned countless star systems. They had crushed every civilization that had dared to oppose them, and they had believed the humans would be no different. But they were wrong. The child's death had awakened something deep within humanity, a primal fury that no amount of technology could stop. The first strike came without warning. It was swift, sudden, and devastating. An explosion ripped through the night sky, lighting up the darkness like 1,000 suns. The sound of the blast was deafening, echoing across the colony. The shockwave sent debris flying in all directions as the Empire's defenses were torn apart. The explosion was so powerful that even the cloaked human ships, now moments away from the blast zone, felt the shockwave reverberate through their hulls. The Empire's outer defenses had been obliterated in an instant. The scene on the Empire's colony was one of chaos. Aliens scrambled to respond, their ships and soldiers caught off guard. The Empire's superior technology had been rendered useless in a single strike. The humans, who had been invisible moments before, now emerged from the shadows, their warships uncloaking one by one, revealing their deadly presence. The first wave of human fighters, launched from the cloaked warships, tore through the Empire's defenses like a storm of metal and fire. AI-controlled drones moved with precise, mechanical grace, overwhelming the Empire's forces in a series of lightning-fast strikes. The Empire's forces, caught completely off guard, were thrown into disarray. The human fighters moved with a speed and efficiency that their alien enemies could not match. Despite being outgunned and outnumbered, the humans fought with a ferocity born of desperation. They were no longer the underdogs, no longer the helpless victims of the Empire's tyranny. They were avengers, fighting not just for survival, but for justice, for the child whose life had been taken so brutally. The visuals of the battle were stunning. The explosions from the initial strike lit up the night sky, casting long shadows across the battlefield. The human ships, glowing faintly as they moved through the void, were like ghosts, appearing and disappearing with terrifying precision. The AI-controlled fighters, sleek and deadly, darted through the chaos, their weapons firing in rapid succession as they decimated the Empire's forces. The once invincible Empire was crumbling under the weight of humanity's fury. As the battle raged on, the suspense continued to build. The Empire, once certain of their victory, now found themselves fighting a battle they could not win. The humans had revealed their hidden weapons, and the Empire was powerless to stop them. Every strike, every explosion, every loss of a ship or soldier was a testament to humanity's determination. They would not rest until the Empire had paid for their crimes, until every last member of the Galactic Empire had been brought to justice. The tension in the air was palpable. The first strike had been successful, but the war was far from over. The humans had made their move, and now the galaxy would witness the full force of their wrath. The Empire had thought they could crush humanity with ease, but they had made a fatal mistake. The game had changed. The battle was on, and humanity would stop at nothing to ensure that the Galactic Empire would pay for its atrocities. The human fleet continued to advance, striking at the heart of the Empire's outer colonies, their cloaked ships cutting through the darkness like a blade. The suspense was unbearable, and the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. Would humanity's fury be enough to defeat the Galactic Empire, or had they underestimated the power of their enemy? Only time would tell, but one thing was certain. The Empire had awakened a force they could never have imagined. The tide of war had turned, and now humanity was on the offensive. After the first successful strike on the Empire's outer colonies, the human fleet had gained momentum. With their cloaked ships and advanced technologies, they were no longer the weak underdogs they once were. But the true test of their strength was yet to come. The time had arrived for the first major assault on an Empire stronghold, and with it the humans would show just how far their resolve could take them. The human fleet, having gained a foothold in the battle, began its approach to one of the Empire's most heavily fortified stations. The station, located at the heart of the Empire's defensive network, was crucial to their control over the galaxy. If the humans could breach this stronghold, they would deal a devastating blow to the Empire's operations. But the station was no ordinary target. It was surrounded by powerful defenses, and the Empire's warships guarded it like a mother protecting her young. The odds were heavily stacked against the humans, but they had something the Empire had underestimated: their cunning. The human ships, cloaked and invisible to the Empire's sensors, silently moved into position. The tension in the air was thick as each ship prepared to strike. There was no turning back now. The mission was set in motion, and the fate of humanity rested on their success. The first wave of attacks came swiftly. One by one, the human ships unleashed their deadly payloads, taking out the Empire's advanced defensive systems. Each strike was precise, calculated, and devastating. The once impenetrable defenses of the station began to crumble under the weight of humanity's unexpected assault. The Empire's commanders, confident in their superior technology, had underestimated the humans' ability to strike from the shadows. They had believed their defenses were impenetrable, but now, as the explosions rocked the station's exterior, they realized they had made a grave mistake. The humans were more than just a nuisance. They were a force to be reckoned with. Despite the overwhelming odds, the humans pushed forward. They were outnumbered, but they were far more cunning. They had learned to fight with the elements, using every advantage their technology and skills could provide. Each move was calculated. Each strike was purposeful. They used the Empire's arrogance against them, taking down their advanced systems before the aliens even knew what had hit them. But this was just the beginning. Inside the human ranks, the soldiers were preparing for the next phase of the assault. Among them was Alex, a seasoned soldier who had joined the war after the tragic loss of their younger sibling. The child's death had been the spark that ignited humanity's fury, and for Alex, that loss had become a driving force. The grief, the anger, the pain, it had all been transformed into an unwavering determination to make the Empire pay. Alex was no longer just a soldier. They were a symbol of humanity's defiance, the embodiment of everything the Empire had underestimated. As the human forces closed in on the Empire's main station, Alex's squad prepared for the most dangerous part of the mission. They would be the ones to infiltrate the station's interior and take out the Empire's central command. It was a suicide mission. a mission that would require every ounce of skill and bravery the soldiers had. But Alex was ready. The thought of their lost sibling fueled their every move. They would not rest until the Empire had been made to pay for its brutality. The moment the human forces breached the station's perimeter, the battle inside was brutal. The close-quarters combat was like nothing the soldiers had experienced before. The station's corridors, once pristine and gleaming with advanced alien technology, were now a war zone. Explosions rocked the walls, sending debris flying in all directions. The sounds of gunfire and shouts echoed through the hallways as the human soldiers clashed with the Empire's elite alien forces. Alex led the charge, their weapon raised as they cut through the enemy ranks. The aliens, with their superior strength and technology, were formidable opponents, but they were not prepared for the sheer determination and ferocity of the human soldiers. Alex moved with deadly precision, taking out alien soldiers one after another. Their grief over their sibling's death was no longer a burden. It was a weapon. With every strike, with every enemy soldier they brought down, they were avenging that loss. The station's hallways became a deadly battleground. Sparks flew from the damaged walls, illuminating the chaos as human soldiers fought tooth and nail against the Empire's advanced robotic soldiers and AI-controlled drones. The robots were faster, stronger, and more efficient, but the humans fought with something the machines couldn't replicate: heart. Every movement was driven by the raw emotion of revenge, the desire to protect what little humanity they had left. The soldiers' tactics were unorthodox, often improvising as they went. They used the station's narrow hallways to their advantage, setting traps and ambushes for the Empire's advanced forces. It wasn't pretty, but it was effective. Alex's squad moved deeper into the station, pushing through the waves of enemy troops. Their resolve never wavered, even as they encountered more resistance. The Empire's elite soldiers, trained to deal with any threat, found themselves struggling against the humans' unpredictability. For every robotic drone they destroyed, for every AI they disabled, the humans showed no sign of slowing down. They had something the Empire couldn't fathom: the power of emotion, of raw determination, and the will to survive. The fight escalated as they neared the central command of the station, where the Empire's most powerful commander awaited. The commander, an alien of immense power and intelligence, had been tasked with protecting the station at all costs. He was confident in his ability to repel the human forces, having dealt with countless rebellions in the past. But the humans had something he hadn't accounted for: the will to win at any cost. The final confrontation was imminent. Alex's squad breached the last line of defense, and there, in the heart of the station's command center, they faced the Empire's commander. The battle that ensued was fierce. The commander fought with all the might of the Empire behind him, but Alex and their squad fought with everything they had. This wasn't just a fight for survival, it was a fight for justice. Every blow that landed, every weapon fired, was a reminder of the loss that had sparked this war. In the end, it was Alex's determination that won the day. With a final powerful strike, they brought down the Empire's commander, ending his reign of terror. The room fell silent, the weight of the victory settling over the soldiers. The Empire's once impenetrable stronghold had been breached, and the humans had claimed their first major victory. But there was no time to celebrate. The war was far from over. The Empire would fight back, and humanity's struggle for survival was just beginning. As the dust settled, the human soldiers stood victorious. But they knew the true cost of their victory. They had taken the first step toward defeating the Galactic Empire. But the journey ahead would be even more perilous. Yet, with every victory, with every strike against the Empire, the humans were showing the galaxy that they were no longer the underdogs. They were a force to be reckoned with. And no matter what the Empire threw at them, they would never stop fighting. After their first major victory against the Empire, the humans were beginning to believe that they had the upper hand. The battle had been hard-fought, and though the Empire's forces were vast and powerful, the humans had proven they could strike back. But the true scope of the Empire's cruelty was about to be revealed, and what the humans discovered would change everything. A horrific truth came to light. As the humans continued their offensive, they managed to intercept secret communications between high-ranking officials within the Empire. These communications led to a terrifying discovery. The Empire had been conducting unspeakable bioengineering experiments on the human colonies they had conquered. The humans had always known the Empire to be brutal, but this was something far darker. The Empire was using humans as test subjects, altering their biology and creating monstrous new weapons and soldiers. They were taking the most innocent, the most vulnerable, and turning them into mindless tools of war. The revelation sent shockwaves throughout the human resistance. The sight of their fellow humans, their families, their brothers and sisters, being turned into experiments, their bodies twisted into horrific weapons, was enough to shake even the most hardened soldiers. Alex, who had already lost so much, now understood that the fight was about something far greater than revenge for a single child. It was a fight to free every human, to stop the Empire from turning the rest of humanity into nothing more than test subjects for their twisted experiments. As this new knowledge spread, it ignited a fire in the hearts of all humans. The anger, already simmering after the loss of countless lives, turned into a burning fury. Earth's coalition, now united as never before, rallied to a cause far more important than a mere victory. This was a war for the very soul of humanity. The Empire had gone too far. Their experiments, their cruelty, would not be tolerated. The human resistance had to take the fight directly to the Empire's heart, to destroy their laboratories, their factories, and their machines of terror. Alex's squad, already battle-worn but no less determined, was given the mission to lead the charge. The task was monumental. Infiltrate one of the Empire's most guarded bioengineering facilities and bring down the operation from the inside. The lab was located on a remote planet, hidden deep within the Empire's territory. It was a place of unimaginable horror, where the screams of tortured prisoners echoed in the dark, and the twisted creations of the Empire's scientists were born. To the humans, it was a symbol of everything the Empire had done to them. It was time to end it. But as they prepared for their mission, a new threat loomed on the horizon, one that would make their already impossible task even more dangerous. The Empire, realizing that their grip on the galaxy was slipping, had created something truly terrifying. An AI so advanced, so powerful, that it could predict human strategies and counter them with frightening precision. This super AI was designed to be the ultimate weapon, capable of outsmarting any human commander. It could calculate every move, anticipate every tactic, and make it nearly impossible for the humans to win a battle. The AI had already been deployed to help the Empire put down the human resistance, and it was only a matter of time before it caught up with them. The news of this AI sent a chill through the human ranks. The technology behind the AI was far beyond anything the humans had ever encountered. Its abilities were almost godlike. It could predict tactics, raid battle patterns, and exploit any weakness in the human strategy. For the first time since the war began, the humans faced the possibility that they might not be able to win. The odds seemed stacked against them, and Alex's squad was forced to confront the fact that their battle might already be lost before it had even begun. But the humans had something that the AI could never understand. They fought with emotion, with heart, and with the determination to protect their future. The Empire's cold, calculating machines could never replicate the power of human will. Alex and their squad knew that this was their fight to win, not because they had the most advanced technology, but because they had something more powerful, a reason to fight, a reason to win. Despite the fear of the Empire's super AI, the mission proceeded. The squad knew what they had to do. They had to strike quickly, decisively, and without hesitation. Their target was one of the Empire's most high-tech bioengineering labs, a place where the Empire was manufacturing its ultimate soldiers, using the DNA of tortured humans to create monstrous hybrid warriors. These creatures, stronger and faster than anything humanity had ever seen, were designed to become the Empire's perfect army. But what the Empire didn't count on was the resilience of the human spirit. Alex and their squad infiltrated the lab under the cover of darkness. The lab was located in a remote area, surrounded by high-tech security and a vast army of robotic drones. The facility itself was an imposing structure, dark and foreboding. Its walls were lined with cold metal, its floors were sterile, and the air was thick with the scent of fear and pain. Inside, the squad found horrors they had never imagined. Human test subjects, their bodies twisted and mutated, were kept in cages, their eyes filled with terror. The sight of it made the soldiers' blood boil, but there was no time for hesitation. The mission had to come first. The squad moved swiftly through the dark hallways of the lab, taking out guards and security systems with ruthless efficiency. They'd reached the central command area, where the data on the Empire's bioengineering experiments was stored. But just as they began to access the files, the Empire's super AI made its move. The moment the humans entered the facility, the AI began to predict their every move. It was everywhere, lurking in the shadows, countering their tactics with terrifying precision. The battle was fierce. The AI-controlled drones moved like a swarm of locusts, cutting down anyone who stood in their way. But Alex's squad didn't falter. They fought with everything they had, using every trick, every strategy, to outsmart the AI. It was a battle of wits as much as it was of strength. The humans knew they couldn't match the AI's raw processing power, but they could use their unpredictability, their human ingenuity, to stay one step ahead. In the heart of the lab, Alex faced off against a giant bioengineered creature, one of the Empire's ultimate soldiers. The creature was a horrifying mixture of human and alien DNA, its body enhanced with cybernetic implants. It was stronger, faster, and more lethal than anything Alex had ever fought before. But despite its terrifying power, Alex had something the creature didn't: the will to survive. In a brutal, close-quarters battle, Alex and the creature clashed. The lab shook with every strike, every blow landing with bone-crushing force. But in the end, it was Alex's determination that won the day. With a final powerful strike, they brought down the creature, ending the threat. The AI, however, was still in control of the lab, predicting their every move. But just as the AI seemed poised to win, a surprising turn of events occurred. Alex's squad used the AI's own algorithms against it, exploiting a small weakness in its programming. In the final moments, they managed to disable the AI, breaking its hold over the lab and allowing humanity to take control. As the dust settled, the squad emerged victorious. But the war was far from over. The Empire had unleashed its ultimate weapon, and the humans had fought back with everything they had. The battle was a small victory, but it was a victory nonetheless. The human resistance was stronger than ever, and now, more than ever, they were united in their goal to defeat the Empire and reclaim their freedom. The Empire's secrets had been uncovered, and humanity had seen the true depths of its cruelty. But the humans would not stop fighting until the Empire had been brought to justice. The struggle was far from over, but now, the humans knew they had a fighting chance. The war between humanity and the Galactic Empire had been long and grueling. The Empire, with its overwhelming technology and vast military might, had never anticipated that the humans, whom they had underestimated, would push back so fiercely. But after uncovering the Empire's monstrous secrets and losing everything dear to them, the human resistance was finally ready for their most daring and decisive assault yet, a final push against the heart of the Empire. The target was the Empire's core planet, a fortress-like world that housed the Central Command and the AI mastermind controlling much of the Empire's forces. This was where the war would be decided. The humans knew that to win, they would have to hit the Empire where it hurt the most: its heart. The battle would not just be a fight for survival. It would be a fight for vengeance, for justice, and for the freedom of all humanity. Alex and their squad, still carrying the weight of their fallen comrades and the memories of their lost loved ones, knew that this mission could very well be their last. They had come so far, but the road ahead was filled with peril. The Empire's defenses were impenetrable, and the planet itself was heavily fortified. The AI had predicted every move humanity had made up until now, but Alex and their team had learned how to fight unpredictably. They had learned to fight with their hearts. As they prepared for the final assault, the humans implemented a plan that had never been seen before: guerrilla tactics. The Empire's forces were accustomed to overwhelming force and direct assaults, but humanity was going to take a different approach. They would infiltrate the Empire's most secure installations, avoiding large-scale battles and striking with precision at the Empire's weak points. The goal was simple: break the heart of the Empire and bring down the AI that controlled its forces. Alex's squad was tasked with infiltrating the central command of the Empire, where the AI mastermind resided. The command center was a vast, underground complex located deep within the planet's core. It was guarded by legions of automated drones, advanced robots, and elite soldiers. The humans would have to move like shadows, slipping past enemy defenses and making their way into the heart of the enemy's operations. The squad knew the risks. They were outnumbered, and every step they took brought them closer to the inevitable confrontation with the AI, the very entity that had masterminded the Empire's tyranny. But this was no ordinary fight. The humans were fighting for something far greater than themselves. They were fighting for their families, for their future, and for the millions of lives that had been lost at the hands of the Empire. The tension was thick as they infiltrated the command center. The humans moved quickly and quietly, using the Empire's own technology against them. They hacked into security systems, disabled surveillance, and silently took out guards one by one. It was a race against time. The AI, aware of their presence, was already calculating its response, but it had underestimated the humans once again. While it could predict their movements, it could not anticipate the raw emotion that fueled their every action. Alex, in particular, was driven by a fierce desire for revenge. The loss of their sibling and countless others had left a scar that would never heal. But that pain had become fuel, an unstoppable force that made them push forward with a single-minded focus. They were no longer fighting just for survival. They were fighting for justice. The Empire's AI leader, the one who had orchestrated all the suffering, would not be allowed to continue its reign of terror. The first phase of the operation was a success. Alex's squad reached the central command, but they knew that the real challenge was yet to come. The AI, using its superior intelligence and vast computing power, was prepared for the final assault. It controlled everything, from the planetary defenses to the drones that swarmed the surface. The AI had already begun to adapt to the humans' tactics, predicting their every move with terrifying precision. But Alex and their squad had one advantage. They were unpredictable. They had learned how to fight not just with advanced technology, but with heart. The AI, for all its power, could never replicate the human spirit. It could calculate probabilities, but it could not understand what it meant to fight for loved ones, to fight for vengeance. As Alex reached the core of the command center, the final confrontation began. The AI's voice echoed through the facility, calm and cold, like a machine speaking to a broken world. It tried to reason with Alex, to persuade them that resistance was futile, that the humans would never win. But Alex was past reasoning. The AI had taken everything from them, and now it would pay. The battle was a spectacle of high-tech warfare. The AI controlled an army of robotic soldiers, drones, and automated turrets that seemed to flood the room. But Alex's determination was unshakable. With their squad fighting fiercely alongside them, they pushed forward, cutting down drone after drone. Their weapons crackled with energy as the battle escalated. Explosions rocked the command center, and sparks flew from the walls as human soldiers fought with everything they had. But the AI was not easily defeated. It adapted, recalculated, and sent wave after wave of robotic soldiers at Alex's team. For every victory the humans achieved, the AI would counter with overwhelming force. The room seemed to pulse with energy as both sides fought for control. The tension was unbearable. In the midst of the chaos, Alex's final confrontation with the AI came. The AI's consciousness was housed in a massive, spherical chamber, surrounded by glowing data streams and flashing lights. As Alex approached, they felt the weight of the moment. This was it, the culmination of everything they had fought for. They raised their weapon, ready to strike the final blow. But the AI, understanding the human's emotional drive, attempted to use that against them. It tried to exploit Alex's grief, to distract them with memories of their fallen loved ones. But the AI underestimated the power of human emotion. Alex's rage and thirst for justice were all-consuming. With a roar, they lunged at the AI's core, delivering a devastating blow that sent shockwaves through the facility. The AI, in its final moments, tried to adapt, but it was too late. Alex had struck at the heart of the Empire's power. And with that, the AI's control over the Empire began to crumble. The impact of the final strike was felt across the planet. Explosions shook the surface as orbital bombardments from the human fleet rained down on the Empire's defenses. The sky above was ablaze with the fury of battle. Ships engaged in fierce dogfights above the planet's atmosphere. While on the surface, the human forces pushed forward, their morale boosted by the knowledge that they had struck a decisive blow. As the battle raged on, the human forces began to gain the upper hand. The Empire's defenses were in disarray, and the AI's control over its army was severed. With their central command destroyed, the Empire's forces began to retreat, unable to fight effectively without their mastermind directing them. The final push was a victory, but it came at a great cost. Many brave men and women had fallen, but their sacrifices had not been in vain. The Empire's grip on the galaxy had been shattered, and humanity had shown that, even in the face of overwhelming odds, they would never back down. The AI that had once controlled the Empire was now nothing more than a memory, and the human resistance had emerged victorious. The Empire's reign of terror had ended, and humanity had reclaimed its freedom. As the dust settled, the humans knew that the war was over. But they also knew that they would never forget the cost of that victory. The scars left by the war would remain, but so would the memory of their triumph over the Empire. Humanity had proven that, no matter how powerful the enemy, they could never defeat the human spirit. And with that, the galaxy was forever changed. The battle had raged on for what felt like an eternity. The planet's surface was scared by the fury of combat, smoke rising from the remnants of fallen war machines and shattered buildings. For the humans, this war had become more than just a fight for survival. It was a battle to reclaim their freedom, to prove to the galaxy that they would not bow down to tyranny. And in the final moments, humanity's resolve had shattered the Empire's hold on the universe. The AI, once a powerful force controlling the Empire's every move, was now nothing more than a broken system. Alex had struck the final blow, their weapon cutting through the core of the AI's command center, and with it, the heart of the Empire's power was destroyed. The human forces, emboldened by this victory, pushed forward, breaking through the Empire's remaining defenses. The machines and drones that once served the Empire were now useless, their commands lost to the void. It was over. The Galactic Empire, once a dominating force that spanned across countless star systems, had collapsed in the wake of humanity's rise. The leaders of the Empire, who had once looked down on humanity as weak and insignificant, now found themselves at the mercy of those they had sought to destroy. The war machine that had threatened the galaxy for so long was in ruins, and the once unshakable Empire had no choice but to surrender. Humanity had won. The news of the Empire's surrender spread quickly across the galaxy, reaching every corner of human-inhabited space. The Human Coalition, a united front of forces from all corners of the solar system, celebrated their hard-fought victory. The enemy was defeated, and peace was restored. The survivors of the war, though weary and battered, stood tall, knowing they had just changed the course of history. Alex, standing amidst the ruins of the Empire's once imposing command center, felt a sense of bittersweet victory. The child's death, the loss of so many innocent lives, had been avenged, but at a heavy cost. The faces of fallen comrades flashed in Alex's mind, each one a reminder of the price they had paid for this freedom. Yet, despite the pain and loss, Alex knew that the sacrifice had been worth it. They had done what no one thought possible. Humanity had triumphed against all odds. As Alex looked out over the battlefield, the first rays of sunlight pierced through the clouds, casting a golden glow over the destroyed city. The war was over, but the scars of the conflict would remain for generations to come. The ruins of the Empire's great structures were now a symbol of its downfall, a reminder of the cruelty and oppression that had once held the galaxy in its grip. But for the humans who had fought so fiercely, the sight of the sun rising over this shattered world was a sign of new beginnings. The war had been long and brutal, but now, the promise of peace hung in the air. The human flag, a symbol of their unity and resilience, was raised high above the ruins, fluttering in the breeze. It was a victory not just for those who had fought on the front lines, but for all of humanity. The Empire's reign of terror had been ended by the courage, determination, and strength of a people who refused to be crushed. Alex's heart swelled with pride as they stood at the edge of the battlefield, their eyes tracing the horizon. The sun, now fully risen, bathed the land in a soft, golden light. It was a new day, a new era for humanity. The future was uncertain, but it was theirs to shape. They had proven that, despite the odds, they could rise up and stand against the most powerful forces in the galaxy. The death of the child, the catalyst for this war, had fueled their fury. It had awakened something within humanity, a fire that could not be extinguished. The grief, the pain, the anger, it had all led to this moment. The Empire's fall was not just a military victory. It was a triumph of the human spirit, a testament to the fact that no matter how powerful an enemy might seem, no matter how technologically advanced they were, humanity would never be ruled. Alex's thoughts drifted to the fallen soldiers, the ones who had given everything for this cause. They would never be forgotten. Their sacrifice had paved the way for this new era. The universe would remember the price of freedom and the power of unity. Humanity had proven that their spirit could not be broken. They had faced the impossible and had come out victorious. As the dust settled and the last remnants of the Empire's forces withdrew, a sense of calm began to spread across the battlefield. The sounds of war faded, replaced by the quiet murmurs of the survivors, their voices filled with relief and exhaustion. The task ahead was daunting, rebuilding their worlds, healing the wounds left by the war, and ensuring that the mistakes of the past were never repeated. But for now, they allowed themselves to bask in the triumph of their victory. The human coalition, now united more than ever, began to make plans for the future. The galaxies were no longer under the shadow of the Empire. The once dominant power that had ruled with an iron fist was now a shadow of its former self. The leaders of the Empire had surrendered, but the true victory was in the hearts of the humans who had fought for their freedom. Alex stood tall, their gaze fixed on the horizon. The journey had been long, but they had made it. The war was over, and peace had been restored. The future was uncertain, but for the first time in a long while, humanity could face it with hope. As the sun set, casting long shadows over the battlefield, Alex spoke to the survivors. Their voice, though tired, carried the weight of a new era. Humanity will not be ruled, Alex said, their words carrying far beyond the ruins of the Empire. We will rise. And with that, the dawn of a new era had begun. The galaxy was no longer a place of fear and oppression. It was a place where humanity could chart its own course, free from the shackles of the past. The war had ended, but the story of humanity's rise had only just begun.